The Territory calls John W. Maxwell.
State your name, please.
John Maxwell. Everyone calls me Jack.
Okay, Jack. Tell the court where you were on February 1st, 1896.
On February 1st, 1896, I was at Dog Canyon Ranch, Oliver Lee's ranch. I spent the night there. I got there just before sundown.
And who else was there at that time, sir?
Oliver Lee's mother, Mr. Blevin, and Ed, the hired man.
What did you do that evening?
I ate supper there that night and slept in the house with Mr. Blevin.
The next day was Sunday, February 2nd, 1896. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And what time did you get up that Sunday morning?
At sunup. I ate breakfast with Mr. Blevin and the others.
And did you see the defendant, Mr. Lee, there for breakfast?
No, sir.
Jack, may I call you Jack?
Please.
How long have you known the defendant?
I've known Oliver Lee 5 or 6 years. His ranch is not too far from mine.
And what did you do that day, sir?
I stayed down at the corral. I seen 4 persons mounted on 2 horses coming from the northeast towards the house. They come within 200 yards of me and dismounted.
4 persons on 2 horses?
Yes, sir.
And who are these men?
I took them to be Mr. Lee, Mr. Gilleland, Mr. McNew, and Ed, the hired man.
And what did you do after you saw the men ride up?
I ate lunch with Lee, McNew, and Gilleland, and supper that night. I think Mr. Blevin was not there at lunch, but returned to supper.
Were the men armed?
Yes, sir. Lee and Gilleland wore their pistols at lunch, but I can't say they had them on at supper.
Did you have an opportunity to visit the corral that day?
Yes, I did. I went to the corral. My horse was there. I had to feed him.
What did you see in the corral?
I seen 2 other horses in the corral. The 2 I'd seen belonged to the ranch, I think. One was a roan and the other a bay. Those were the 2 horses which the 4 men rode up to the ranch on.
What was the condition of those 2 horses?
Those 2 horses look like they've been used lately, and they've been used hard.
Oh, interesting. Ridden hard, put to bed, wet. I see. Rode hard, you say?
Yes, sir, judging from the sweat marks and the saddle marks on those horses.
Did you stay the night at Lee's ranch?
Yes, sir, I slept that night with Mr. McNew. Lee and Gilleland took their bedding and went outside to sleep. They had their ordinary arms with them.
Oh, thank you, sir, thank you. Well. Your witness.
Thank you, Counselor. Well, Mr. Maxwell, could you repeat again for us? What time was it you said you'd gotten to the Dog Canyon Ranch?
Just about night at sundown.
And then you traveled back to Las Cruces on Tuesday, February 4th?
Yes, sir.
And when did you hear of the disappearance of Colonel and Henry Fountain?
I disremember.
Well, did you not tell Bud Smith within a week after February 1st of 1896 that they need not accuse Oliver Lee of the murder of Colonel Fountain? For you were there and you saw Lee setting out grapevines with his mother, Mrs. Lee?
I didn't state it that way.
Ah, well, did you or did you not state to Bud Smith that Oliver Lee and the other men were at the ranch on Saturday and you knew they had nothing to do with Fountain's murder?
No, sir.
Well, did you tell George Curry that you were at Dog Canyon Ranch Saturday afternoon, February 1st, and that Lee and Gilleland were there?
I didn't tell anyone I was there in the afternoon. I got there at sundown.
Has anyone ever promised you any remuneration for the evidence should you give in this case?
Any what? Any pay. No, absolutely no.
Is it not a fact that you made a written contract with Pat Garrett?
Yes.
Your Honor, and to those of the jury, I quote this letter as evidence. This is to certify that we, the undersigned, agreed to pay John Maxwell $2,000 in the case he give us information that will lead to the arrest and convictions of the murderers of Colonel A.J. Fountain and his son, Henry Fountain, and the said $2,000 is to be due as soon as the conviction is had.
I don't know if those were the words. I was to get $2,000 of the reward.
And what were you to do with that $2,000?
Simply to tell the plain facts of the case as I knew them.
Isn't it a fact that you told Pat Garrett that you knew certain facts and would not swear to them unless he promised you $2,000?
They gave me the contract before I told them what I knew.
If Garrett says to the contrary, then he tells a lie, does he not?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Did you tell Bud Smith that you had a contract for $2,000 for your evidence and that you wanted the money and you didn't give a damn as to how you got it?
No, sir, I did not.
Mr. Maxwell, is it not a fact that you have told many people different versions of your visit to Lee's Ranch?
I've never sworn to any other story.
That's enough. Thank you, Your Honor.
Has anybody connected with this prosecution of this case ever asked you to state anything except what was the truth?
No, sir.
Have you been told that your life was in danger if you told the truth on the stand about these events?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Maxwell.
Mr. Maxwell, the fact of it is, you were not frightened by the defendant at all, were you?
I don't know what it is to be frightened.
Nothing more, Your Honor.
Mr. Maxwell, you're excused.